The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to another episode. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, of course, John Lebang. If you're a long-time listener, you don't need to know that. But if you're just tuning in for the very first time, then you might not know who the actual host of the John Lebang Show is. You ever get the feeling, folks? You ever get the feeling that things are turning sour in the world? Man, there's been a lot of developments on the geopolitical front in the past few weeks. The whole thing with Venezuela and what the possible intentions of the United States going forward when it relates to that country is. We just deployed a medical ship, a hospital ship, to the region, along with some other vessels. Then we have the firing off of rockets by Kim Ding Dong, which is seemingly giving the finger to President Trump and U.S. policy out of nowhere. Then we have the Palestinians beginning their assault on Israel. Now we have Iran showing signs that they may be planning something, and in response to that, the U.S. is moving assets into the region. Russia's doing some stuff, China's doing some stuff, and tensions seem to be growing across the board on practically every front imaginable. Is this just the powers that be flexing their muscle for whatever reason, or is something possibly happening that might be very, very dangerous for the world structure? The Pentagon just recently sent a bunch of Patriot missiles, which are anti-missile defense battery, to the Middle East because they think Iran's getting ready to do something. And why has this all flared up in the recent weeks? Why now? You know, Trump makes statements and China gets mad about it, hurts the stock market. Could that be partially related? Maybe. I don't like the fact that he's out there tweeting all the time. And trust me, some of the people that I follow on Twitter follow him, so I get to see his posts by proxy because they like his stuff. So I see what he talks about. Some, it's okay, and others are like, why'd you have to tweet that, bro? We don't want to even talk about what's going on here. Went from a Mueller investigation into collusion. Turned out nothing happened there that they can prove. Now it's grown into this, we want Barr to testify, and he doesn't want to testify anymore. So now we're going to hold him in contempt, and who knows what's going to come of it. People forget that Eric Holder was held in contempt, and he's free to walk around the world right now to do whatever he wants. So apparently, Congress being held in contempt is not a punishable thing if you're at least part of the Democrat side of things. We'll see what happens to Barr. But I don't know if it was a good move that the president used executive privilege to hide all the information. I mean, why else would you use executive privilege? And he's more than welcome to do that because both the Obama administration and the Bush administration used executive privilege to keep information away from the general public. So Trump said, hey, there is precedence for this. I'm going to do it. And this goes back to things I have said for so long on this broadcast. We can't allow presidents to push the goal line, move the first down marker when it comes to executive power. Because once one does it, the next guy will do it. And it's okay when your guy's in power, but then when somebody else does it, you don't like it. But you can't say no to your own. But that's going off the topic of the geopolitical structure of the world at the moment, which is very shaky, to say it mildly. U.S. has moved assets all around the world because there are hotbeds of tension at the moment. And since we're the police force of the world, from my opinion, I'm not a fan of that, but it's the reality. The U.S. is the police force of the world. Anytime some brush fire jumps up, U.S. assets are put in place to deal with it. And if the Palestinian, their latest attacks on Israel is just the beginning barrage in the Middle East to a greater conflict that might be expanding into Iran, because apparently there's a problem with Iran. The largest funder of terrorism, state-funded terrorism on the planet. Now, they would turn around and say the U.S. is, but we don't call what our guys do as terrorism. It's a funny thing, it's okay for us again, but it's not okay for them. And I'm not supporting any action that would cause the death of anybody at this point. I'm sick of war. I don't really want to get into one. And our biggest problem is our southern border with Mexico, which we'll touch on that in a little while, because there's some big developments that have happened there that just happen to not make the mainstream media. Once again, the union president of the Border Patrol agents is telling us that record numbers of Border Patrol agents are calling in sick, and the CDC is stepping in. Now, why would an uptick in Border Patrol agents be happening? I wonder. Well, the only thing I can put together is that we've had an uptick in people who are coming in from the southern border. And now that there's problems in Venezuela, and we also know that Venezuela was behind some of these caravans that were heading up to the U.S., you have to start putting things together. Our biggest problem is Mexico right now. Being Venezuela might be a number two problem. And all of a sudden we have to divert our attention to the Middle East and to North Korea on cue. Q for that matter. Wonder what Q's talking about lately. So many people follow that person or entity. Who knows what that guy really is, or who he is, or she is, or whatever they are. They give credence to that individual. And if he says something's going to happen more, you can tell there's a lot of videos that come out about that. Yes, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but it's all intertwined together. Because they've got to keep us off the scent of what's really happening. And is that why there's a uptick in military activity across the world? Where the people finally getting focused on something and they want to distract you with something else? I mean, they've got the little things to distract you with. Like President Trump takes over the 4th of July celebration. A lot of people think that's a big deal because he wants to move it a little bit. It's not going to change much because I've been there for the 4th of July celebration. And you can see it from wherever, and where they're moving it to isn't that big of a move. But apparently some people are upset about it because the president himself is injecting his opinion and wanting to change things. Maybe he's going to turn it into a giant rally for his followers. I just love it. It's funny how so many people are now worried how much it's going to cost to move the lousy 4th of July special just down the street, a little ways away, not that far. But they're not worried about the cost of a whole lot of other things. Speaking of distractions, like there's distractions from distractions. There's so many distractions, they like to keep us all confused. That way, we can't figure out what really is happening. But if we can get through the mishmash and skip out this and that and the other thing and just kind of look at what they're doing. Things keep moving right along. And we got an election coming soon. Mr. Biden's in the lead. Did you hear that? Mr. Biden is in the lead from the Democrat perspective. He's beating out Bernie, who was, I think, second. Kamala, all those other ones that are running for the president. All these retreads or fringe people. You know, you got to wonder if they just know they can't win no matter what. It's incredible that Joe Biden seems to be the leader, Mr. Touchy-feely. Any little girl, any woman, he likes to just touch and grab. They have a problem with the president saying stuff, doing stuff, you know, not publicly. Here's Uncle Joe Biden, and he does things publicly right there. He touches people, little girls and women. Hey, no problem. You know, you're very confusing, Democrat Party. I'm just saying. You're a very confusing party. You talk about how bad racism is, but you bring up color, gender, all the isms. You bring them all up constantly. You don't let us forget them. Because if we would be able to forget them, it'd probably be a little bit more like back when I was younger. And people were just people. And if you were a good person, you were a good person. Didn't matter what creed, color, religion, whatever you were. And you also assimilated back then. In other words, you became part of the American culture. That's out the window as well. So we have a lack of respect for each other, a lack of wanting to join the greater melting pot. Like I said before, the people who want segregation are the people who want to be segregated and who do segregate themselves. And the racists are the ones that are always talking about race. And the sexists are the ones that are talking about sex. Yet, feminists, you are a sexist. You don't know it. You don't want to believe it. But you are. Feminism is sexism. It's like the term. Reverse racism. There's no such thing. It's just racism. In fact, I don't know why we call anything race or racism, because we're just one race on the planet. It's human race, people. You figure that one out, you're going to be in a lot better shape than you are right now. All of you think you're all something different. That's your own fault for thinking that. The only thing that's different is you're an individual. Doesn't mean the color of your skin makes you different. Doesn't mean your hair or having a nose piercing or a bunch of tattoos. In fact, a lot of that just means you're part of something else. You're part of some kind of clique, especially the tattoos and all the weird stuff like that. But are you an individual? If 20,000 people are doing something, are you doing it? If that's you, you're not an individual. You're part of something there. Be part of it, whatever. I don't have a problem with it, except a lot of times you people affect my life. I just like to be left alone. There's a whole lot of us that just like to be left alone by the government, by everybody else. Don't take my money from taxes, especially the way you're spending it. They're going to need more money soon because they're going to drop a lot of bombs. I can just see it coming. Makes a lot of sense in the last tax deal that they made. Why they increased the spending for the military? They were expecting to bomb. Now, you can look back and see these things. And I can look at the clock and see that I've gone over my first segment time here, so got to take a break, but I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going? Hey, you, get back here. The John Lebang Show will be right back. Does your house need a paint job, but you don't want to do it? Then call Tom at Quality One Painting. He can handle all of your interior and exterior painting needs. He gives free estimates and senior discounts. Call Tom at Quality One. 313-982-2986. That's 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting.
You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
And it's so much fun. Why you keep talking? Oh, am I not supposed to? No. Oh, back to John.
Well, they've got a new study. Terrible. It's a new study. 6 cups of coffee is awful for your heart. It's terrible, terrible, terrible for your heart. So it looks like old Banger's got to cut back a little bit. Early in life, I didn't even care for coffee. I don't think I picked up my first glass of coffee till I was in my mid-30s. At least the first cup that I enjoyed. I might have tasted it when I was younger, but overall, I just stayed away from coffee. I was always a tea kind of fella. Then I picked up the coffee thing, and now they're telling me that more than 6 cups of coffee is really bad for your heart. That's a day. And I'm thinking, well, I better cut back, although I've done a pretty good job of that already. I've tried to change a little bit in my lifestyle as far as eating's concerned. I've cut back on the massive amounts of food for the most part, trying to eat a little bit more healthy. I always did eat healthy, but, sometimes you get lazy when you're working all the time. And the Banger having a normal job, his own business, and the radio show, as well as doing so many other little projects on the side. Sometimes it's just easier to have something you can just unwrap, cook, and eat. We all go through that. That's why fast food exists, really, because it's just so much easier to go spend the money to have somebody else make your food and just bring it home and eat it. If not, eat it on the way home. But now they're telling us 6 cups of coffee is bad. So I would suggest that you do what you want, because they always have studies. They always do. They tell you something's bad for you. Then later on they tell you, well, it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. Because the whatever pool that we had at the first, originally, those people were different than the later pools that we had when we did the studies to verify the study that told us that 6 cups of coffee was bad for you, or eating too much eggs was going to give you high cholesterol, or this or that and the other thing. Well, no, just a balanced diet with a good variety of different foods is the best way to go no matter what. Some of us have allergies, some of us don't. I don't know why some of us have allergies. That's a really weird thing, being allergic to food. I don't have any comprehension of that. But some other people don't have comprehension of having allergies to flowers and stuff. And when I was younger, I was really afflicted with those type of allergies. It was awful. Life's been a crazy thing. As you get older, you start to reflect back on some of the things. Some people would say they have regrets, and you could, even myself, looking back at things, you have those feelings of, man, I should have did this way or that way. You can't change it all. You might want to go back. You can't, unfortunately. If you could take your time machine back. Would you want to change something in the past, realizing that it would change everything about you now and the person you are now? And I don't know if you like yourself or you don't. With how angry people are, and there's another recent study that I just read that we're in the age of rage. So with the anger that people hold, and even I've gotten a little more testy as I've gotten older. But it's because other people. That's the problem, really. It's not really like, I don't want to be testy with people and grumpy at people and angry with people. But I can't help it. You can't drive 5 minutes without some idiot on the road doing something that's either completely against the law, completely moronic, or endangers you. And road rage could lead to a great deal of anger through the rest of the day. Because it's not just one idiot on the road. When there's one, there's like a dozen. You've got to be playing musical chairs, just musical lanes, just to stay out of the way of the dummies on the road. That has to do with a great deal of things. Not only do we just have bad drivers, but we have people who don't know the law because they can't either read the language, they didn't want to read the language, they don't want to know the language, they barely want to know the language, they don't care. They're from somewhere else. Their world is different. And even though they come here, they don't change to assimilate to here. They still think they're the stuff they ran away from, that they escaped, they should bring that over here. I don't understand that concept. Really don't. Just on the simplest things. When you go back in history, when my family was in France, we didn't bring any of that head cutting when we came to Canada, and we sure didn't bring it to the U.S. We didn't bring the guillotine with us, but, you know, some people bring other things with you. I don't understand it. The language barrier, it's another thing in this country that's infuriating, especially for a person like myself that has to deal with the public on a regular basis. And when you can't understand the person you're dealing with, it takes so much longer to accomplish the said task. And in the businesses where I've chose to reside in, the longer you stay with one customer, the farther you fall behind. Because the rotation of customers are constant. And one customer that can't speak a language because they haven't assimilated into the culture slows down, creates a longer line for everybody else, a longer wait time for everybody else. And that's infuriating. And people on all sides of the issue will get mad about it. The customer who's waiting in line 5-10 minutes longer because that first customer can't communicate to the person they're trying to purchase an item from. So that person is going to dislike the person who can't communicate. Maybe he's going to have a bad day because he was already in a rush because he went through a dozen bad drivers getting to the place he was going to purchase this product so he could just go about his day. Now he's 15, 20 minutes behind because of poor drivers and bad customers that just happened to arrive there before him. One little thing can set a chain reaction of events to just ruin people's day, which then makes people even more angry. And then you add in most of these people, when they come home, when they finish dealing with all the idiots in the world and they get home, they just want to sit in front of TV or they just want to chill out. They click on just to get a few minutes of downtime, and you get the propaganda meisters out there singing away their choruses of this and that and the other thing. So the person who had a rotten day because of the crappy drivers and the crappy customers and whatever crappy other things that happen along the way gets more crap dumped in his lap at home. So yeah, people are going to be cranky. People are going to have anger problems this day and age. There's only one way to fix it, really. But are the people willing to do that? I don't know. We may be too far gone. I think we're a lot closer to a civil war than we are to making permanent peace between each other, man and man, man and woman, whatever and whatever. First thing you got to do is have respect for each other. And that's out the window. I used to be one of those people that actually had respect for people. I would show respect off the get-go. I still do. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. Hello. Good morning. Welcome. The niceties. But as soon as these people go off into stupid land, I'm about done with them. I don't even want to deal with these people. Because why should I have to deal with somebody else that's stupid? It's not my fault they're stupid. It's not my fault they won't assimilate. It's not my fault they don't learn the language of the country. Although that's going to change soon. Because we never defined the language of the country. So when you can move in a large enough population that speaks an entirely different language than the language that's here, that's native to the culture, well, then you have an entirely different language, and you won't need people like me to get angry about people who don't assimilate, because there probably won't be people like me anymore. People just want to get along. You mind your business, I mind my business. That means I take care of my stuff, and I don't get into your stuff. That's all it means. You take care of your stuff. You're in America, you learn English. I don't want you to pay taxes, but for right now, until we figure that one out, until we stop this whole income tax thing, you got to pay taxes like the rest of us. Although I've got some great plans. The Banger's about to announce something pretty soon. We did it for 2016. We're going to do it again this time around. Not ready to put our full weight behind it because we want to have a little bit of platform to exhibit for you out there. So that way y'all know what the plan is. Y'all know what the idea is. You can get along and come along if you want. We don't expect many to come along to get along. You know, the Banger's voice isn't all that big. So many other larger voices. There are reasons for that. Again, we could discuss that in another show. Because, the things that generate listeners and what could happen there and how some people, again, others, can just foul up your plans. Mankind is an interesting creature. And I don't know what God was doing exactly when he created us, if God created us. Because if you're an atheist and you don't believe in God, then I just said something that might offend you. You know, back in the day, again, when I was speaking earlier about years ago, people wouldn't get upset and we'd get along a lot better. Didn't matter which color was. You know, we had passed all that in the 60s and 70s. So by the time the 80s got here, everybody was just on coke and we were listening to heavy metal and some cool rap music, hip-hop. You had Aerosmith and Run DMC making a song together. The Beastie Boys had Slayer's producer. It was a great time. People were getting along. We had a few incidences here and there, and then the media jumped in and caused all the real problems. They highlighted the problem, then exacerbated it. Because that's what the media does. See, they need ratings. So they can't give you nice, boring stories. As soon as they can turn a story into something that's a crisis, they will. Why do you think they have the cameras in place right when all the bombs are going to fall in some war that there's been a build-up to? It's rather amusing, actually, as a commentator. But it boils down to us little people and what we accept and how we treat each other. Gone long again. Gonna take that most important break. We'll carry on the other side, though.
Don't move a muscle.
The John Lebang Show will be right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes! Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass for a beautiful shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
And of course, to carry on the issue, because it is such a bad problem, did you know that the border detention cells in Texas are so overcrowded now because the caravans that are coming are so large that they're just overflowing? So our country is having to use aircraft to move the migrants to other locations where there's slightly less and they have more room to hold these people. Can you imagine the cost to the American taxpayer? How just having to fly migrants around, security, all the stuff that would have to go with it. And these aren't migrants, damn it. I'm sick of the term. These are trespassers. These are people coming in, not through the proper means, not through anything but breaking in. If they were breaking into my house, it would be against the law. And it is against the law that they're trespassing on this country. And I have nothing against the individual people except they're breaking the law. And why we haven't done anything about it. It's just been one giant disaster. And we have all the show going on, the bar show and the Democrats and the presidential and all this other thing. Nothing's going to get done for another 2 more years on the border at least. Because after this year, you're going to have the 2020 elections. And that's where Trump is going to focus all of his attention. He's going to go right back into campaign mode once again. And we have to worry that the Democrats are going to actually win. Although, if you're a steady listener, you'll know I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think the cards are in there for Trump to win in 2020, and that'll give AOC her big spotlight. The lady that was born on Friday, October the 13th, that's going to be her first chance at being a nominee for president. And she's pretty dumb. I mean, she's pretty dumb. See, that scares me that the American people are so apathetic that they would elect a person like that lady there, AOC, as I affectionately call her, Ocasio-Cortez, which I have been the brunt of some criticism over that. I had no idea something hot, spicy, and cheesy was racist, but apparently it is. See, good humor uses play on words. You see, a form of good humor is a play on words, and Ocasio-Cortez is a nice play on words to her her hyphenated last name. But apparently, it is racist according to some people. I had no idea it was. She's hot, so I said, okay, Conqueso's hot. Chili conqueso. I don't know if you've ever had conqueso. Great dish, man. It's cheesy. It's spicy. You telling me that Cortez isn't spicy? She's hot. She's an attractive woman. She's hot. She's spicy. And, well, she's a little cheesy. We're in big trouble. But I don't know why the voters put people like her in there. Maybe they're too apathetic. Maybe they don't know any better. And if they don't know any better, why the hell are they voting? See, this everybody can vote thing is getting a little out of hand because people aren't smart enough to vote, unfortunately. What was that famous comedian? George Carlin. Wasn't he the guy who said, think of the average person and how dumb they are, and realize that 50% of them are even dumber? I think I was paraphrasing there, but it was a very close proximity of a paraphrase there. So that's why we get people like Cortez in office. It's why we get the continuance of Nancy Pelosi, who sounds crazier by the day. What's wrong with that lady? I guess a lifetime of being a Democrat. We've seen it in Hillary, and now we're seeing it in Nancy. It just drives you crazy. You just go over the loony bin, you're gone. But they won't go away. They won't go away. Then we're talking, we brought this up before. Please, people, tell your friends, please educate everybody who brings up the damn popular vote. Will you explain to them that they already have the popular vote in their state and to mind their business when it comes to other states? Do you or do you not have the popular vote in your state? That's how they award the Electoral College points, isn't it? Your state votes, the winner of that state gets all the points unless you're a state that splits the vote. In fact, a smarter thing, if you really wanted to represent your state better, you do something inside your state that says the vote represents the vote in the state. So it's not a winner-take-all per state. That way, a state like, California doesn't constantly win all the points for Democrat all the time. There'd be a few Republican points there. In a state like California. And vice versa in a state of Texas, that would be split better. That's where your problem is with the Electoral College, in my opinion. It's how your state splits the vote. It's a winner take all? Fine, winner take all. But don't try to affect my state by having a national popular vote when you already have your popular vote in your state. Leave my state alone. That's all I'm saying. See, this allows people, if they don't like how your state votes, let's say a person does not like the state because it constantly goes Republican. That allows you as a citizen to move out of that state to a state that votes more like has more your ideas, more your beliefs. If you're a Democrat in Texas, and you never win there, no votes ever go to your presidential candidate, the best thing you could do, instead of trying to rig an election through a national popular vote because you want California to control it all, just move your ass to California. There you go. You'll be happy in the utopia of California. If you want to hang out with Nancy, you can go up to San Francisco and watch the bums poop right in front of every restaurant window that you can sit at. Enjoy that utopia. That's the reason. Or at least part of the reason of the Electoral College. If you don't like how your state continually goes one way, move your ass out of the state to a state that's a little more like-minded. Trust me, I'm considering that myself. Because I ain't changing this state. Ain't no way you're changing the people of the Detroit area. No way. So I've been considering, if I'm going to move one day, and who knows when, who knows where, if I'm going to go, where am I going to go? Well, it's going to be a state that has a lot more like-minded people. I'm kind of tired of being overruled all the time. But I'm always on the fringe when it comes to popular things anyways. Everybody liked Avengers Endgame. Well, not everybody, but lots of people liked Avengers Endgame. I thought it just blew. People think Democrats are better than Republicans. That's a joke. That's a joke. You know, they talk about how corrupt and bad and evil and whatever, all these things that Donald Trump is. And then what do you guys put up there on the Democrat Party? You got Uncle Joe, who touches women all the time. You've got nobody on the Democrat Party that's actually morally better than Donald Trump. And that says a lot. Don't get mad at me for saying that. I'm not saying Donald Trump's a great guy. I don't think he is. But you can't tell me over there in the Democrat Party that you have the moral high ground. No way. How do all your politicians get rich? You get mad at a rich guy, want to see his taxes. Let's see all the taxes. Let's see Nancy's taxes. Let's see everybody's taxes. In fact, I don't want to see anybody's taxes. I don't see what the point is. You're telling me that you want to see how badly the government screwed somebody? Does that make you feel better? Does that make you feel better knowing that one person got screwed by the government more than you? Or in the case of Donald Trump, when his taxes showed he was in the red, big losses during that time period. And the dirty, rotten people in New York released that garbage. It's just a bunch of garbage. It doesn't matter at all. All you make fun. You know, he was in the red. How good could he be? How good could he be? Guarantee you, most of you out there couldn't manage very much in your own world either. If you had that kind of money, you'd probably be in the red too. How many of you have credit card debt up the wazoo? He can show bigger losses because he takes bigger risks than most of you. And I'm not even defending the guy. I'm just saying, knowing how bad or how good or how much a person paid in income tax, that's ridiculous. Terrible. We should all be going for nobody paying income tax. That would be the fair thing across the board. We keep our money that we earn. Tell me why the government deserves any cut of my work. Any cut. Or any cut of anybody else's work. Because they say so? Pfft, yeah, whatever. They say a lot of things, and most of them are lies. You're going to believe a bunch of liars. And you think Trump's a bigger liar than Hillary Clinton or Nancy Pelosi? Give me a break. Joe Biden, Barack Obama, pff, give me a break. They're all liars. So don't tell me your person's a lot better than Trump. That's a bunch of garbage. In fact, your person who over there on the Democrat side, they're going to try to raise my taxes. I don't see Trump doing that. So, you know what? In the next election, if somebody else doesn't run, and I've heard the Republicans are going to try to throw an independent out there. That's stupid. All they're going to do is guarantee that the Democrats win, which is, that tells you that's a one-party system, doesn't it? You got to wonder if Trump, this is where, some days I think Trump's part of the whole cabal thing, and then other days when I look at the picture, I'm like, man, they just treat him like crap. How can he be part of the cabal when they treat him like such garbage? They would never treat one of theirs like that, would they? Yeah, you never know. We've got to take a break, folks. Last segment, we'll talk some space news, and then we'll say our goodbyes.
Smoke them if you got them.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back.
After this. That's guaranteed. Yes. At Absolute Skin and Body Care, they only use the best laser equipment in the industry so that you receive the best results possible. They'll explain all the procedures in detail and answer all of your questions. Absolute Skin and Body Care. If you're looking for skin rejuvenation, laser lipo, or laser hair removal, call Absolute Skin and Body Care. They're located at 37625 Ann Arbor Road, Suite 105 in Livonia, Michigan. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Their office phone numbers are 248-305-3000. That's 248-305-3000. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass. Quality One Painting. For interior and exterior painting needs, call Tom at Quality One, 313-982-2986. Tom will give you free estimates, senior discounts, and I can tell you from meeting the gentleman, he's one of the nicest guys on the face of the planet. So for a quality paint job with a professional attitude, call Tom at Quality One Painting. That's 313-982-2986. 313-982-2986. Quality One Painting.
Fans, do you need a video for your brand new song but don't have a lot of money? Then contact John Lebang. His reasonable rates, professional look, and fast turnarounds will help get that song off the ground. Contact him at jlebang.com. You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
And it's so much fun. Why you keep talking? Oh, am I not supposed to? No. Oh, back to John.
And welcome back, folks. So many of you are space junkies out there, so you might find this next story very interesting. But Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon and the Washington Times, says he plans to go to the moon and extract water. And if you think this is coming out of the blue because you didn't know that Bezos was into this sort of thing, well, it's true, because he's got a company called Blue Origin, and it's not the flashiest company, but in the past several years, it has been conducting secret work on, well, space travel and lunar missions and many other things that we don't exactly know much about because it's all in secret. But the Amazon guy has got a space company, if you didn't know that. He also owns the Washington Times, so that's interesting. Now, so far, the work from this Blue Origin has been very close to the ground, we're told. But they have carried out nearly a dozen successful flights of its New Shepard's rocket, named after Alan Shepard, the first American to go into space. Now, this rocket hurtles upward until it reaches the edge of the atmosphere of space. Then it descends and lands vertically on the ground. Bezos wants to use the New Shepard to fly space tourists perhaps as early as this year. Can you believe that? Wonder how much that'll cost. Now, this once dream and a moon mission is another thing that requires a little bit different technology, but Bezos says he's aimed to get there. Now, the lander that was revealed this Thursday is a mock-up. It's called the Blue Moon. It's sleek, hulking, an insect-like design with spiny legs to cushion the landing. And here's the plan that they plan to put into place. Before they touch down on the lunar surface, Blue Moon will dispatch a bunch of tiny satellites, depositing them into the orbit around the moon, where they can collect scientific data, quote-unquote scientific data. You would think we already have enough scientific data of the moon, but apparently the Amazon guy wants to get us there to do more scientific data, but whatever. Then it's going to fire its engines and begin its approach. Less than a mile from the surface, it will rotate itself to land upright. Now, on the underbelly is equipped with lasers to guide the spacecraft to its target landing zone. It sounds awesome, doesn't it? Once it's on the ground, the robotic arms will lower a rover. We have those wonderful rovers. We have those all over the place now. We have them on Mars, and now we're sending them to the moon. Perhaps as many as 4 of them, actually, onto the dusty surface of the moon. Now, Bezos said they're about ready to begin engine tests this summer. I mean, that's not far off. There are some notable gaps in the whole plan. Now, the lander may be launched into space on a rocket, and he didn't say when it might be either. But he said enough because there were plenty of people listening. He wants the White House, Mike Pence, and the president to pay attention because apparently he wants them to get behind it. Maybe he's hoping that NASA would undertake a mission to the moon and, test it out in advance. Let us, the taxpayers, pay for something first. I bet you that's what it's all about. See if a few of those things can be done. Then he can put his own money in. In fact, he's been putting in about $1 billion, from what I'm understanding, of his own money, the money made from Amazon, into this space company that he's, I would say, developing, but it's well beyond that because they're actually preparing to go to space. You're conflicted about this if you're a person like me because, sure, space is a great thing and eventually we're going to have to go there, but do we really need to focus our resources on other planets right now when we have so many things on our plate right here on our own planet that we really need to, get straightened out before they become even bigger messes than they are? But we never want to divert full attention to one thing as a culture or as people, even as a bunch of individuals. We don't want to focus on one thing and tackle one thing and make that problem go away permanently and then move on to the next one. We'd rather handle all the problems at the same time, never get any of them accomplished, and throw money left and right at it, and nothing ever good. I mean, there's some good things that get done that are positive, but it's so minute, small, and in between so many other failures or straight up deceptions that we are being told. So, whatever. Bezos go to the moon. Are you for that? Are you against that? Do you think private companies should be going to the moon, or do you think it should be government entities, or we should do it as a common goal as mankind, the one race on the planet? Though, because we have to run everything through that entity called the United Nations, our one human race can't get along because the United Nations isn't there to promote everybody getting along. No, it's just a crappy organization, and too many countries that can't get their own affairs in order have too much pull and say in that entity to make it viable. Because the more modernized free world countries, although they have their say in it, still, for the most part, have to put up with the because democracy's good. Democracy's good. And if there are a bunch of other nations that, don't go along with you, then whatever, right? If you want to know more about what's going on with Bezos and his company there, you can go to The Atlantic, which is more of a left-leaning site. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I've been accused of many things on this show, but I read from multiple sources, and I talk about how these sources report their information. They're seeing Jeff Bezos here in a positive light. I don't know if going to the moon, going to Mars, is that important when we weigh it against all the other things that we have to deal with. But Bezos has the money coming out his ears because he's such a greedy bugger. I mean, the dude has so much money, he can throw $1 billion away and it's nothing. It's nothing. When you already have everything, why do you want to accumulate more? Jeff Bezos has everything on the planet. You think the guy would just go, okay, I'm done. I've made it to the top. I don't have to earn another dime. But no, he just want more so he can spend his money here and there what he thinks mankind should be directed to. And that's the way it's always been, so it's more of an observation than a complaint at this point, because I don't think it's ever going to change, because the people of power never seem to care how much power they have or They don't think it's ever enough. They accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, and it's not good enough. So it's like money. You never can have enough money, no matter how rich you are. It's never enough, and no matter how much power you have, it's never enough. That human failing. If we could just get past that as a race, we'd be in a lot better shape. But I don't think that's coming anytime soon. And in a companion story of sorts, the Russians are demanding answers from NASA over the alcohol stench on the International Space Station. Apparently, some people are getting drunk up there in space, and and the Ruskies, I guess it wasn't vodka. And the Ruskies are upset. I guess it wasn't vodka. I don't know. Maybe it was American beer, and they didn't like American beer. You see, there are Russians and Americans on the International Space Station. So until that really separates, because, I mean, are we going to go to war with our people up there? Could you imagine if war broke out between the two countries and then there was a battle up in the space station for the dominance of it? Because I wouldn't put it past the Russians to try to take over a space station in the event of conflict between them and the United States. To me, that would seem like a strategic move that would be very beneficial if you could hold the space station. Because the space station, I'm sure, has advantages in certain tactical areas. But hey, I could be wrong. But apparently there wasn't vodka smell. I don't know what smell was up there. But the Ruskies are all upset over that. And NASA's going to do so. I don't know. They're going to probably say, I'm sorry, we won't drink American beer anymore. Can we give you Canadian beer instead? I mean, no, I want Russian vodka, please. Just Russian vodka. Give it to me all. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get on out of here. Thank you for joining me once again. I want to thank all of the affiliate stations who carry the John Lebang Show. If you missed any portion of the broadcast, you can go to our website. That's www.jlebang.com. We've got archives of the show there, games. Check out the Banger Music Hour. It's just a huge success. And with that being said, folks, until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, I'm John Lebang, signing off from the Banger Studios. See you next week.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week. Same time, same space,